The last thing they published it, is that I don't know the exact date, but it was after December, not in November. It was the last thing they published. Okay? And in it, we can read it, and it says something like this. The last publication they have on is the one from December. We want to thank all the people who supported us during this painful time. Jay really touched the nation and showed us how much love we shared with us. Thanks to your support, we were able to stay in Tenerife until our beautiful baby. He returned to the United Kingdom. We managed to fund the Sydney search team. The Sydney. When Jay Slater was found by the Civil Guard. I say this so that people know against Jay Slater. From the Netherlands who supported us during the days they found him. Jay really deserved the send-off we gave him, and we thank you all for that. We have been overwhelmed by messages of support from around the world, and we will be eternally grateful. Our journey of trauma and pain will continue forever, and we will never recover. We lost our beautiful child in extremely tragic circumstances before the eyes of the world. We do not and will never understand how Jay's story reached every corner of the world. Our journey is far from over, but the weight has been eased thanks to your support. We also want to thank the people who managed the Yale fundraising page, with whom we have been in constant contact, especially during our stay in Tenerife. Your support and advice will be unforgettable. Donations will be cancelled with this latest message, and Jay's family and friends are trying to come to terms with the tragic loss, and we thank them from the bottom of our hearts for this comment from a donor. So dear, we have been pleased with the Cadices. We are many more than trolls. When love against hate, love triumphs, all you need is love. May God bless everyone. Jay Lake's dear family, friend. Let's see, thanks to everyone except the authorities for finding someone.
Let's see that. Hey, of course, respect for the pain and loss of... But I think that given the circumstances and given what happened and given how things have developed, the minimum would have been, I am not saying an apology, but a recognition to say, listen, thank you to the Spanish authorities for having turned in the way they have turned around.
This has been made clear, and the idea we had of what this was not the right one.
If I tell you more, they have found it. There are times when they get lost in the mountains, and they got lost.
Okay.
I'm telling you.
Because he was a foreigner, he got into a mess. He was on video for television. Almost those of Netflix, almost this, almost that. Would he have appeared? Yes. But it would surely have taken longer. I'm not saying no, but hey, that you also have to see yourself in the shoes of the civil guards. Those who had to go on foot, man, but on foot through an area that was not passable, practically climbing and unclimbing.
But here is what they always said, the verdict
of the ravine, you know? I haven't seen anyone who has touched his palms and said, hey man, thank goodness. Thank you for finding the guy. Which all of these, of course, and yes, of course, detract.
I always say what?
Same. And he got into the wood,
The fact that resources are requested for others does not mean that they are taken away from those who are given. What do I mean by this? There are people, I know for example, disappeared in Malaga itself, who disappeared in a similar area and have not been searched for. In other words,
Lake. When we had the event in Madrid, we told the case of a lady in Extremadura who had a steep area where it is taken for granted that it will surely be there, but that it is a real odyssey to get into, and they have practically left it in the air to see if by chance the civil guard appears, and that it happens because there cannot be the same. It's the same as always, that we all know that there are always disappearances.
Media, less media, and in the end you invest more or less. But it doesn't just happen with that, it happens with lots of crimes and lots of disappeared people. It's a shame, isn't it? It's a shame that not everyone is given the same possibilities. What's more, it's what you said before, in the end this boy got where he got, and we all knew where he came from. I mean, back in the day when we did our live show, we were talking about how the kid is already partying for 3 days, and after the holidays he went there without sleeping. He went to buy tobacco, returned to the house. What was never clear is the fact of why he left, how he left. But hey, that's going to be a story that I don't know.
It's clear that the 2 guys he went off with, one of them is known to be a guy who moves drugs. What happens is that from there it was led to start speculating theories and such. Maybe he had stolen it or not stolen this man's watch or not, or so and so. Well, I think it's more or less clear anyway. After 3 days of marching like that, in the end these types of people are accelerated, and you tell them to climb the Tay barefoot, and you put it up barefoot, you know? Come on, let's go there. There's no end to the march, you know?
Yes, but perhaps from here, one of the things that should be made clear is that, above all, a message to the youth, that if you go to party and rave, then don't go to the mountains in this way, because the most that can happen to you is a ruin. Come on. I mean, if you are already in physical condition.
In a totally unknown terrain.
Without knowing the slopes, without knowing what the slopes are like. What will the route be like? I mean, because I started to go up, and come out of the wall. In fact, I think it appeared in an area that was not expected, an opposite area. In other words, he was walking in the opposite direction. Yes.
Correct. The theory was that they had gone up in the direction of one of the villages to see if he could catch the bus from there, which was known to happen very little because it was Sunday. And in the end, it must be that he got disoriented, and instead of going in the direction of the south, let's say, he just went in the direction.
He even told him that the bus passed through the door right where he was, and that one passed by every hour. I think they told him or something like that. And he decides to leave, that is, not to stay there waiting for you to pass it to him. Let's see, the truth is that when they tell you the case in that way, it seems a bit strange, doesn't it?
A little of, I mean, around here he may have been locked up by these people because he left like that without looking back. He doesn't wait for the bus, he goes to look for a way. He has Google Earth. I don't know how Google Gear works in that area either, but I guess it's cool.
No, sir.
Not at all. Because you don't mark the trails, you know? And even less so the areas that are not passable paths, but are home paths, let's say. That does not appear or...
And also, look at something else. He leaves during the day. That is, it wasn't even at night, imagine. Yes, but that a young boy in acceptable physical condition during the day. In theory, nothing should have happened to her. I mean, very rare that you take off there. I listened to the young man and such, because he went as he went, things as they are. He was in the condition he was going, and he found himself. Herself.
It would make the level of dehydration dizzy. He would stumble, lose his consumption, and fall.
The chestnut, so did the chestnut.
Let's see, he had already injured himself. When she calls the friend, he says he's been injured, he's fallen, and he's injured, and he's trying to walk, you know?
But so that they can see what the emotional state is, the psychological state of that kid, logically altered.
I could have called the friend and said, I'm going to send you my Wi-Fi, call the police or whoever.
Send help, right? I'll call you, send help, period. But no, he decides to take the road and move forward. Well, after this, in theory, little more, because I don't think the family is going to contest. He has not challenged it yet. He has not challenged it.
It's all very clear.
Nothing but clear.
In fact, I tell you, we had requested the appearance of the procedure.
I was thinking about going into more details and such, but the order is so exhaustive that I think we don't need to see autopsy reports or statement takings or anything, because everything is quite well trite, okay?
If Netflix England was thinking of making a series in this case, then I'm very sorry.
Unfortunately, basically.
Then we consider the case closed, accidental death, and unfortunately, and nothing more. His past has nothing to do with it, because there was also a lot of talk about this kid's past. So,
What happened? You commented at the time. That anyway.
they beat up another who almost killed him, he along with some friends.
Tell me. Correct, but all that also tells us a little about people in general. In this case, the victim of accidental death, right? But that, in the end, is what I say. Besides, you know that we, if we see something strange, are the first ones we put in the children.
They take it to me many times. Hey, well, there's not much more to talk about the case of JLT because, yes, I'm going to tell you two things. First, have you watched the series Adolescence on Netflix?
Everybody's talking to me about it. Man, but no, you haven't seen it. Man, in 3 days, everybody. Hey, have you seen the teen series? The first time they told me, I thought they were telling me that if I had seen the series of our adolescence, and I say, well, it will be 90.21 feeling of living, of course I saw in high school. And then they tell me, no, it's a series of such and such, a crime of I don't know what. I mean, my mother, more crime. Look, I'm seeing Tryon. I'm seeing the body on fire because you know that normally in my free time I don't see or read or do anything that has to do with crimes or anything. I catch myself.
I fish.
Well, look, you start making models, right? Well, for certain circumstances. Damn, I'm going to see her, and then I'm going to see Rosa Peral's films. I'm liking the series.
From the point of view of...
Cinematographic view seems to me to be super well done.
No, And it is very similar to the reality of the case. I mean, there are 4 tiny variations, but I'm true to what the case is. The girl works very well. Oh, no. The truth is that the actors do very well. I like the whole series.
Argument. How they expose the issue that when they are sending WhatsApp, instead of sending WhatsApp, they are as if talking in the foreground. And you say, well, an interesting cinematographic resource. So, then I'm going to see the other one. Because the other one is already for me, which is quite a different story, isn't it?
The first, that is, the series is very good. The series of the body calls and the other one shit, said badly and quickly. In fact, I thought it was a shame to do that. Or late as I feel it, huh?
Yes, the good ones was things they explained to me.
In fact, I don't know if you know that Rosa Pera has sued Netflix. I think he is asking for $30 million of euros. I don't know if it was 30 out there. And I have always said the same thing. I hope I get enough to pay what he owes to Pedro's family and the son.
In
the video I uploaded of the interview I did with Paco Perez Caballero talks about that, you know? And I asked him about the subject. Hey, what do you think? Or to demand money for a series where they don't have the murderer and that kind of thing and such. The truth is that the video is interesting. Well,
I with Perez Caballero.
hasn't the interview come out yet?
No, we did a podcast on the subject of Daniel Sancho's crime, but for the moment they have also published it.
He will be about to leave now, surely.
Woof.
What about the series of that adolescence? Let's see, tell us.
When I see her, we'll talk about her. It's very good. The truth is that I really like the editing, but it treats it from a very interesting point of view. Because it is, let's say, as if you saw a 13-year-old boy who kills a classmate, or presumably kills her. The series is shot in sequence shot, that is, it is action, and we do the whole episode. There is not a single cut, it is not a false sequence shot, it is a real sequence shot. In other words, the camera following people gets into the places. The scenography, the choreography of the scene is wonderful.
Yes, I think so. Exactly.
And in addition to the fact that they recorded, for example, there are chapters that have been recorded 16 times. Because that's where you end, that is, you fail, they cut, and we start the whole chapter again because it's a sequence shot.
I'm going to see it because of my interest in the film world, rather than...
But you're also going to like it because the actors make 15-star roles. When you watch chapter 3, the ones I like the most are 3 and 4. Well, 3 and 2, 4 would be third. The 3 is about the child undergoes a psychological evaluation by a doctor, a psychologist. That is, she arrives where he is in the reformatory, and there she sits with him, and she does a 13-year-old boy. And after José Breton's book, what do you think?
The publisher stopped it, didn't it?
No, not anymore. The judge has ruled in favor of the publisher and sees no evidence of anything criminal in the book and has given the green light for it to be published. Today the news came out.
But listen to me, then I don't quite understand. Why did it stop?
The uncle advertises the book, writes an article that is to be read. Ruth files a complaint.
And then the court of Barcelona passes. The prosecutor's office is in person and such. And the publisher decides not to release the book, which had to come out on the 26th, which in the end will come out on the 23rd, I imagine, until...
The judge has pronounced today, saying that he sees no indications of anything criminal, that at a given moment,
It is not the prosecutor who has to file anything, but it should be the mother who appears by right of... Crimes against honor are not prosecutable ex officio. In other words, prosecutors cannot prosecute a crime against honor. It has to be done by the person. In addition, on many occasions, an act of conciliation is required first. They have a specific procedure, but does that news mean that they are going to publish it or not?
The publisher said that if the judge ruled in favor, they would publish the book, so I understand that they are going to publish it.
I'll also tell you one thing. If the guy decides to self-publish it on Amazon, let's see who the fuck offers. It's just...
The book, really?
the approach you give it, man? In other words, in notas he interviews with, do you see the book?
With Breton, and then he has interviewed him in prison and has made a book based on that. In other words, he has not interviewed Ruth. He has not analyzed the client.
Is the author not Breton?
I don't know what it's called. No, it's a success. And the point is that, yes, apparently he is famous. He has dedicated himself to that. What he has done is a book based on José Breton. That is, he has gone to prison. He has dealt with him. He is not a psychologist or anything. And he has made a book based on José Breton, right?
I know that there is a certain discomfort in many people. And not only people from Ruth's environment or the family, but we like the book. We like the focus of the book.
But hey, it's going to be published. Let's see. Man, if you give him the article, it's pure and simple empathy with José Breton. That is, I don't know if the book is going to be changed later, because then he told him, no, I'm going to give another person, another story to the book and such. I don't know what. But
I think not. From what I've been told, no. The book is to be seen as I understand it. That's what I've been told. I haven't read it. I don't even have a joke. But according to what I've been told, the book is to be read.
To be able to criticize him, you mean?
And no way, no, man. I don't read that, man. It's just that when they told me, he called me, he sent me a private thought at the publisher that published Miguel Ricard's book. And I told him that I didn't even read the book, and that I was not going to interview him at DS. It's going to be much worse if he comes to the program than if he doesn't. So I'd rather decline your invitation to bring him. The same, I'm not going to read the book because the life of José Breton, or what José Breton has to tell me personally.
Another thing would be a technical book by a forensic psychiatrist who has analyzed José Breton and has made a book of José Breton's mind. Well, okay, I'll buy that for you. Or, for example, What Do I Tell You? Which would be super interesting. A forensic psychiatrist who would do, for example, an analysis of the most dangerous prisoners in Herrera de la Mancha.
Ah, there you have a choice. A choice. Well, that would be interesting. In a kind of Spanish-style myth hunter. Not at the audio-visual level, but at the written level.
well, yes, it would be interesting, because people who like these cases and are interested in trying to elucidate a little more what the murderer's mind would be understandable. Not to give voice to the murderer, but to analyze the murderer and try to understand many things.
When he tells me that he is cold, that he is hot, that I don't know what, that I don't know how much, and then that he continues to revictimize his children and Ruth, then I am not interested in reading any of that.
Come in. I'm waiting. I'll count when I can tell. I'm waiting. But come on, yes, we will tell, we will analyze, and we will look.
What do you think you're going to find?
Hell, is that of an appeal by Daniel Sancho that I can find, written by... Come in.
Thing, isn't it? I don't know. I really swear I don't know what I'm going to find. Besides, I imagine I'll see it in Thai, so imagine. It is still difficult to understand it in Spanish. But, come on, I imagine that they will try to go back to the same thing, that there is no premeditation, that it was accidental. They will talk about that again. I imagine, I haven't read it yet. I'm waiting. But I understand. I understand that it's a preliminary autopsy instead of the official autopsy. I imagine that they are going to continue turning the knife when the knife did not come out in the trial, nor was it expected, because Daniel Sanche has already admitted to the dismemberment.
They commented that they were going to put new tests.
No new evidence can be presented. I don't know if they have put something in, I don't know, because I haven't read it yet.
But I also have one thing. One thing he presents to me is a resource. The resource then has to go through several filters, which is not so easy. In other words, on many occasions they throw it back for reasons of form without assessing the substance on many occasions. Spain passes through here, right? What you say is that I have filed an appeal and I have written a new report, and suddenly the court tells you, without going into the merits of the case, by procedural law no new evidence can be provided when assessing an appeal, unless it is an exceptional test that could not have been carried out at the time.
What happens is that with him, I think they also take advantage and answer Ospiners. In other words, they are not going to make two appeals.
That has been curious. The first to file the appeal were the accusations.
I'm honest, I think that there the movement was more of pressure. I don't know. Then with time thinking about it, I have the impression that this move on the part of Ospina was one of pressure. Sincerely, that is. We are going to present it, and we are going to force those present or who want to pay compensation, or that they want to pay compensation and keep the life sentence. It's the impression it gives me. You know what I mean? You know it's done a lot of times.
Of course, because if they had not filed appeals, the others would not have been forced.
Of course, there we go. So maybe that a kind of pressure to say, hey, look, because if you pay the compensation and accept what there is, we withdraw resources, whatever, that I don't know that this is not what I'm talking about.
Being that there are agreements under the table between the lawyers.
I am not saying I agree, but it would be plausible that it would have been done for that. Not anymore, because the counter appeal has been filed.
We understand that if it has been tried, there has not been one. But that it could have been done with that objective, I have the impression that it could have been done. But this is in a personal capacity. I swear to you with my children that I have not spoken to anyone about this. But I get the impression that I could. Like this. In addition, here in Spain, we have seen it many times. In other words, it would not be the first.
I want to see myself live on your Yupa, who interviews Metapong. And there will surely be some very interesting facts, you know?
They are going to talk about the resource. Metapong already has it, and they are going to talk about the resource.
A tie will have been studied, but I suppose they will explain the fundamental lines of the resource, what is said, what is not. But well, I tell you, after this, trial, we have nothing left to talk about of.
But if this appeal is solved, it is resolved that this is not going to be resolved.
2 years ago, we forgot about Daniel Sancho.
Daniel Sanchez, now it's over. No much more to tell. I don't see much more to tell. At least that's what we are aware of, which is the issue of crime. I'm doing my docu-series, this one has come up, with illustrations, which I've already seen some of them. And that's what we're working on, since I'm not working on other things either. But the case of Daniel Sancho, as a case as such.
No, it has no more history. Hey, Triumph, the other day I think I was thinking, when did we do the Carmona conference? A year ago, hey?
In May, if I'm not mistaken, on May 22 or 25, yes, there are 2 months left.
Yeah, man. It hasn't rained.
And this year fabric, huh? It has rained this year fabric.
Well, we have to start preparing for this coming May. You will be fitter, won't you?
Almost, and I'm exhausted. I have no small background. Well, at least I can ride my bike now. I couldn't before.
Well, when we go to the restaurant, maybe still in May you can't eat everything.
I can eat everything already in May. What happens is that I eat very little. It doesn't fit me anymore. That is, they have cut my stomach.
That week I ate a cachopo in the place that has the most cachopo awards, in Asturias, and I swear I was going to send you the photo, but then I said, I'm not going to make them eat because... Why?
I'm into lentils, potato stew, chickpeas, mashed history to the core, but I have no choice.
They're very nutritious, man. If children grow up like this, then so do you.
Between 450 and 500 calories. That's my diet, that is, right now.
I drink that tonight having dinner with some friends in 2 glasses of
Wine. You see, no, the good thing is that this week, I think, is the last puree. Next week, in the middle of the week around there, I will move to semi-solids. That people are very confused. People think that you eat puree because you lose more weight, and you don't. In other words, you can fit more eating a puree than eating the solid. You take a plate of lentils and crush it, and you get more if you eat it pureed than if you eat it solid. But the first stage has to be pureed, because you would get so little if you ate solids that it would be something.
Absurd. It's a matter of opening your stomach, basically.
Basically, like young children, get your stomach used to food.
Good thing you never drink alcohol, right?
I don't drink alcohol, nor do I drink fizzy drinks, which I've been banned forever, but I don't drink them either.
Remembering, I never saw you drink alcohol or a glass of wine.
Drinking, that is, I am not forbidden to drink.
Yes, but you've never had that thing.
Neither alcohol nor sweet. I'm not a pastry chef either. I am a salty eater. Oh no, I am a salty eater. I like food, but no, neither my pastry chef nor that this is a good thing because high-calorie foods, which are usually cakes, ice cream, and all this history, they enter you. In other words, 200 grams of food are going to fit into my stomach, more or less, when my stomach is finished. 200 grams of cakes make an egg fattening, but it's not the same as eating 200 grams of chicken. You know what I mean? That's the difference. So, not being a pastry chef, in this case, that you like sweets is an advantage, but it's a pain. Man, I'll tell you something, this is up.
I know that you are making an important mental and psychological sacrifice there.
And today the gym will be death? Is it an hour or so? Have you done 10 minutes on the bike and about 40 or 50 minutes of weights?
Every morning, after passing the dog, I do an hour of sport.
I had already been doing sports for 2 months, but they stopped it with the operation. Because the pear can't, on the outside it looks good, but because it doesn't have a sewn stomach from end to end, and it can't do anything. And this week we have already returned to sports.
Look, man, how badly the world is distributed, man. You losing weight and me worrying about gaining weight, you know?
Of course, because you could do a lot with what you had from the fight.
That one, isn't it? Yes. Now I'm 82. I'm a bull macho.
I must have already lost about 40 or so, I guess.
Less. Since November, since you saw me at the conference.
We have to start thinking. I thought that in May I still have to travel to Mexico, but when I return from Mexico, maybe, may no, but maybe at the beginning of June.
Well, I sent you the photo, my name of the November day. Well, before that, it was about time. Well, this photo was already a week old. Yes, man, the truth is, well, let's see what to do, man. You saw me in Madrid that I was in dust.
But damn, if this time in Carmona you know that there is a catch next to you, you have no excuse. Besides, this time you can surely come to the peace of the town.
No, but what do I say that when the...
Combined, they are worth €1.50. I mean, my God, we have discovered Rome.
You know I was in dust, man. I couldn't move, I couldn't walk, I couldn't have dinner, man.
Maybe this year I do see you dancing the dance of Melody's gorilla, like Domingo Batista, who is...
Dancing is not my thing, but it is true that if we stay a few more moments and we have to go out, it comes out. No problem. In fact, I'm already singing everything. Thank God, it is something that costs less and less.
Hey, by the way, Triumph, when do you do plant weddings?
Damn, when was it? At 25?
Yes, how long have you been with your relative? I got
In
married,
2002, I make 23 this year. I didn't do 23 this year.
but I didn't have much to do with money.
Huh?
2 years.
And you got married in the church, in court? No, I did it for the court. By the court?
Are you going to?
Do a judicial renewal of vows or something? I don't know what I know. Invite yourself to something. Fuck, party or something.
Invite yourself to something. You see, the guy lives on the 5th channel. Come this way.
Javier Oliveira told me that the party in white is the one that he does every year. He is going to invite me.
Have you seen a blank party? Did you show me the photos?
I saw the photos. I have seen the photos of him with the party in white. In other words, he doesn't warn and says, don't worry, that next year, and I think it would be without a year, or at least 9 months. I think it's in summer. I don't know if it's at the beginning or end of Europe.
But that he organizes it.
I think he does organize it. Look, I'm watching you there, and then I'm seeing you at that YouTuber evening that iBuy does, that they are going to box.
Damn, I just got caught. I tell you with the wheel of the chair. What an egg.
And nothing happens to you for the hairless cat to attack.
Well, man, well, nothing. Hey, we're going to leave. Thank you all for having accompanied us this little way of throwing it here with Feria. Then in the end, it has been a little talking about our stuff.
Yes, by filling out
Hour.
No, it is not an hour. That people are not very interested because this part is 15 for them.
Well, nothing, Felly. Hey, thank you very much. Follow us on both channels, Felix's and mine. And Little Else family, greetings. Tomorrow we will see you at the cafes with Tryon and at night in our Tuesday live. So little more, a greeting. Come on, take care of yourself, KO.